Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another plant video. We are talking Hoya flowers again today. I'm so happy. I've gotten, I think, 6 new flowers from new Hoya since the last time that I filmed one of these kind of videos. I'm going to be showing you guys some pictures. I'm going to be talking to you guys about how long it took me to flower them, what environment they were in, how they smell, how long they last. So hopefully you guys enjoy. I really loved making this video the last time. If you haven't watched that one, go ahead and watch it, and we'll link it up here somewhere. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this video. Okay, so for this first plant that we're going to talk about, it is the Hoya Virabilis. I've talked about this plant a bajillion times on my channel. I love it to death. Like, it is one of my favorite Hoyas, 100,000 bajillion %. So this beautiful baby has these beautiful greeny, minty type flowers. They're very large, round, fuzzy, and they smell very unique. Like, they smell very interesting. Let me see. I feel like you can really smell them more at night, and it's currently during the day. I feel like that's kind of the case with like all Hoya scents, but this one smells almost like witchy to me. It smells like herbal, like a witch's cauldron is how I expressed it the first time that I smelled it. This actually first flowered for me on July 20 something, I think. It was around my dad's birthday, and it opened. I filmed a time lapse, so I'll like play that right here for y'all. It took 4 stinking ever for it to open, okay? This peduncle is the longest peduncle that I have ever seen. For sure the longest peduncle in my collection. It gets ridiculously long. And then once it does start budding up, I feel like it takes a good, it takes a good 2, almost 3 weeks for it to actually like fully open. Like, it takes about a month for it to open. I remember staring at this thing like crazy because I was like so impatient and I wanted it to bloom. I saw that it was like almost on the brink of like opening because the buds were just like starting to look really large, and I was like, there's no way that this bud is not gonna open soon. And it didn't, and I had to wait like an extra 3 days after the day that I thought that it was gonna open. But yeah, it's a really cute flower. It's like one of my favorite flowers, and obviously it is a prolific bloomer, considering that this little baby has opened for me about 3 or 4 times. And I do really love this flower. It is so cute. You're so cute. It's so fuzzy. As you guys can see, it's still kind of like opening up, but yeah, that's my Hoya Virabilis. I was very happy with it. It lasted about a week, I think, last time that it opened. And yeah, it's not one that like closes and falls off fast, but the scent is very strong. Like, I have it in my greenhouse, and every morning after it had flowered, I would open up the greenhouse and like the whole greenhouse just smelled like this smell. It smells very green, very grassy, very herbally. It's different than any other Hoya flower I think that I have smelled. I half expected this to almost smell like lacunosa because I feel like everything kind of smells like a white floral or like a florally scent, but this one is different. It's different. So the next flower that I'm going to be talking about is my Hoya Matilde flower. This is a beautiful white, like carnosa type flower. The scent is unpleasant. Unfortunately, it's not the best smelling flower. It did last quite a bit of time. For this one, I again thought that it was going to open up soon because it like the buds start looking like a certain way when you know that it's about to open, and it just didn't. I have some videos of it with the peduncle with the like full buds. This guy flowered for me I think at the beginning of July, so I don't see it flowering for me again, but I do know that some people on Instagram have shown that there's like continuous flowering, like I guess throughout fall. But with this guy, it just wasn't a pleasant scent. It almost smelled like ointment. Like, it smelled like ointment to me, like medical ointment or something. Something that I feel like a grandma would use like on her feet. That's such a terrible way to describe it, but it's true. That's what it smelled like to me. It smelled like, I don't know, doesn't smell that great. I know some people say that it smells like literal poo to them. Like not just like poo, like an exaggerated, like, oh, that smells really bad. Like no, they say that it smells like literal poo to them. So it's pretty. It's a pretty flower, but it doesn't smell too great. And I will say that it's not the strongest scent on the planet. Like you really have to kind of put your face up on it for it to smell like the smell, but it doesn't really like linger. It's not something that you can walk past and then like sniff it from just like a waft of air. So it's really not that bad. And I honestly kind of want this guy to flower again because the flower was very beautiful. The next plant that I had actually had like a very, very faint scent. And it is my Hoya Way Eddy. This guy is outside. He was getting a lot of sun in the summer. It was like kind of excessive, and now he's actually kind of like sunburnt because I've been too lazy to move him. But the first buds of it sort of ended up opening up in September. It was like beginning of September. And it was so... It was different than I thought. I really thought that next to the Burtone in pictures, they looked like they were very, very, very similar. But the Way Eddy actually has larger corollas. Flower itself, like the bud itself, is very round and large, very similar to that of the Virabilis. And the Way Eddy actually I picked up a little bit of a scent. It smelled sweet, like a little bit like berries, but I don't know if it was just my brain that was trying to, you know, attribute the berry color to it to smell like berries. I don't know, but it didn't smell super strong. Once again, the flowers lasted about a week and it had like a few at a time. I think that's something that I really love about certain Hoyas, is that they don't just put out one flower and then that's it. I know that the Burtone puts out like tons and tons of flowers at the same time, and it's very pretty. The Nurseries also puts out tons and tons of flowers, and it's like, it's just crazy. Those like prolific flowers, prolific bloomers are just so pretty, and I really appreciate those. But I still appreciate the ones that just give me one flower. The Way Eddy took a hot minute also to flower, except I'm pretty sure it was less than a month, whereas like some of the other ones that I've talked about, they took like a long time for it to actually flower from the moment that I saw the peduncle. So the next plant that I have actually did flower a ton. Like I'm talking a ton for me. It was like, and it still is budding up like crazy. The only thing about this Hoya macrophylla flower that is a pain in my behind is that like it'll bud up and it won't bud up the same way that like a Mathilde flower would, where it sort of looks like a bouquet. It doesn't really look like that. It'll start dropping flowers. It was outside, and it was like in sort of, it's in my back porch, the same place that my Way Eddy is, except it's like in a more shaded area. It is beautiful. It actually started shooting out vines like months prior to me actually getting flowers. Me even getting leaves, like I was not getting any leaves on those vines, and I just refused to cut it and trim the vines off. It also has like an excessive amount of peduncles currently, and I'm hoping that the most current bud actually comes out with like a full flower for me. I've only had a couple of like full flowers, or full, I guess, bouquets of the flowers. It's a very cute flower, and once again, it is different from the rest of the flowers that I have, which makes it very like exciting. And it did have a much different scent in comparison to the rest of the flowers that I have. These flowers smell like coconutty, like beachy, and again, they're a little bit stronger at night. At first I didn't really smell much and I was very disappointed, but then like the more that I like sniffed it, the more like I started understanding what people meant by like coconutty beachy. Like it smells like a coconutty beachy perfume. Like it doesn't smell like straight coconuts to me, and it doesn't smell like straight beach to me. It smells like a perfume of like a sort of toned down version of a coconut beachy sort of vibe. I don't know how to quite explain it. It's a very pretty scent, and once again, the flowers are adorable. They're like They're like a white color. They're super cute. They almost have like a purpley margin around the corollas. It was just beautiful. I really, really loved that flower. It's a really cute flower. I'm really happy that it's still currently flowering for me. So that guy, I think, flowered for me at the beginning of September. Once again, it did flower for a pretty long time, and it is still currently budding up and like doing its thing for me. So it is currently November. So it's definitely one that doesn't just like put out one flower and then stop. It continues. So that's really, really exciting about this guy. I really love it. The foliage of the macrophylla is beautiful too. This guy is actually in my grow tent. This guy didn't flower for me, clearly. It's just a little cutting. But the one that's outside seems to be happy out there, and it has also been starting to get either sun stressed or cold stressed. I'm really not sure what's going on with it, but it seems to be flowering a bit. So the next plants that I'm going to talk about unfortunately don't have scents, but they do have very, very beautiful, notable, like very unique, pretty flowers. I love them so much. So this guy right here is my Fitchy Eye. This guy actually did not flower for me. It was not this specific plant, but the plant that did flower for me is bigger, and it is like in a 4-inch pot with just like a bunch of foliage. It's not doing the best right now, which is why I didn't want to show you, but back when it did flower, it was doing really well. But this guy actually flowered for me in August. It has a very beautiful, peachy, like amazing flower. This flower like really bouqueted on me. Like it was like a full flower. It was so beautiful. I loved these flowers so much. But be warned, this flower is seriously like, if you forget to water, you will be so upset with yourself. Like so upset with yourself. It will drop all of its flowers if you forget to water. If you don't keep an eye on it whenever it is flowering, like it will drop all of its buds. Like it's just, it's a temperamental flower. It's kind of weird. I didn't really quite expect it to be like that because it's not one that like, I guess specifically needs water on the regular. But yeah, this guy, it threw a temper tantrum. The Fitchy Eye that I had that flowered was in my grow tent, and it was getting quite a bit of light, so I really think that that's why it started flowering for me so excessively. So I did move it out of there, and I'm kind of trying to rehab it. But the flower experience was really nice. It unfortunately did not have a scent, like I said. It was kind of weird because I think the first time that it flowered, I smelled like almost like a lemony scent, and then every time after that I smelled absolutely nothing. So I don't really know what was going on with my nose that one day, but I don't know. But yeah, this guy has beautiful foliage. It also has beautiful flowers, and I don't actually think that this is a difficult one to flower. If you give it a little bit more light and a little bit more water, I think you might be able to get a cute flower out of this one. But yeah, that's the Fitchy Eye. And then the last plant that I have to talk to you guys about is the beautiful caudata. I'm so, oh my goodness, you guys. The caudata, number one, you need it because if you guys sun stress it or if you guys give it more light, it will flower for you. Like this guy is not a difficult flower in any way, shape, or form. This flowered for me a bajillion times. I forgot to say that the Fitchy Eye flower is a quick one, so it drops pretty quickly. Like within a couple of days, you will no longer have a flower, so that's kind of sad. And that is kind of what's similar to this one. Unfortunately, this flower is the fuzzy flower. It is the most beautiful Hoya flower. I have to say, it is my favorite Hoya flower by far. It has furry flowers. Like how could you not love furry flowers? Like it's beautiful. But unfortunately, once it flowers, it tends to drop its blooms like immediately after it flowers. It really stinks. It does not last long at all. And it's not one of those things I think that you can like water and like make them last longer. They really just drop. I've tried quite a few things and they just drop. So this guy has a very cute buds. Is actually budding up right now. Like I said, this guy is not a difficult flower by any means. Like it is just not a difficult flower. It flowers like crazy. It's beautiful. It has so many peduncles. You guys can see this is a peduncle. It's very alien-like. I think it looks really funky and cool. But there's also like this one right here. There's so many peduncles on this one currently, and there's peduncles that are inactive. There's also one down here, as you guys can see. Do you see that? There are so many peduncles on this guy. It is just so cute. I do think that part of the reason why this is flowering for me is because it is in such a small pot. But the thing is, this root system is by no means like an extensive root system, so I don't really want to move it up in pot. And I also I really love how this guy looks. Does it not look beautiful? And yes, it is purple because it is sun stressed, and that's probably another reason why it's flowering. I wouldn't quite recommend that you do that because sometimes, again, like the foliage will take a hit if you sun stress it too much, or if you stress it out too much, like the flower and the plant might not be happy and then kind of hate you and then die. That's the only reason why I would say I wouldn't recommend it. But if you want a good flower and you just want the flower, like you're fine if the foliage dies, you're fine if the plant dies, then yeah, I guess you can sun stress it. But I love this flower so much. I think it would literally be the perfect flower if it actually smelled like something. I do not smell a thing. It smells, it's scentless, like it's fragrance free. There's nothing. I smell absolutely nothing, and it just makes me so sad. Like, you're fuzzy. You couldn't have like a little bit of a scent, like be a little sweet. I don't know. I think it's beautiful nonetheless. I can't wait for the rest of my Hoyas to flower. I actually currently have some buds on my rotundiflora. Rotundiflora flowers are so cute. I honestly cannot wait until that guy flowers for me. I really hope it does. I also have some peduncles on my obovata, which I expected to open, but they didn't. For whatever reason, they remained inactive. They're still there. They didn't fall off, but they're just not doing anything. And I also have a peduncle on my Thomsonii, which again, I really hope that opens for me. So hopefully I'll have another one of these videos soon for you guys, and hopefully those all open for me. Like I said, the environment matters. It matters. I think outdoors, sort of that like humid during the day and kind of cool during the night, I think that really gets some Hoyas going, you know? And it's nice. Lacunosas always flower for me. I have Numerorioides right now that is currently flowering, and I have Burtonate flowers that are currently flowering. Like, those flowered constantly. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think that's actually everything that I had to talk to you guys about. Here's hoping that the rest of my Hoya flower for me sometime soon, and I can make another one of these videos for you guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, go ahead and hit the like button down below, and if you like me or you like plant videos, go ahead and subscribe if you want to. But that's gonna be it for today's video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!